Looting in Project Zomboid is less about grabbing everything you see and more about making efficient, calculated decisions. Smart players know exactly where to search, what items matter most, and when to leave before greed turns a supply run into a death sentence. These tips focus on maximizing value, minimizing risk, and building long-term momentum for every loot run. My name is Prince, and these are tips to help you survive longer in Extinction mode. I'm going to start off with a brand new game just so things are a bit more organic and authentic. I do have a separate game where I've survived a little under a week, but it has been a little rough. Not gonna lie. I did get bit, but I haven't shown any signs of infection, so yeah, pray for me. Tip number 1, choose a good spawn. One that you're familiar with, and if you're not familiar with any, I recommend either Riverside or Rosewood. I usually spawn Riverside because I'm familiar with the area, I know where everything is, and you're next to water, which means unlimited drinking water. You can fish. The houses are pretty chill once you clear it out, but in Extinction mode it does get pretty hectic. You know what? Just choose Rosewood. Just choose Rosewood. I'll explain as we continue. Tip number 2, make sure you choose the right occupation. Though I covered the majority of the occupations on my channel, there's only a few occupations that will truly help you during early game, which is the most important part when trying to survive Extinction mode. Burglar, fitness instructor, and mechanic. Burglar is by far my favorite go-to occupation. You start with light-footed, nimble, and sneaking. And, believe it or not, sneaking is so good in Project Zomboid. Though some people say it does absolutely nothing, I think it actually makes a difference. And since you'll be crouch walking a lot, you'll be able to level it up much faster. Not only that, but you'll be able to hotwire any vehicle you can find, which is huge. Now, many people prefer the fitness instructor for this particular game mode, and me personally, I tried it a few times, and though I was able to outrun the hordes, I wasn't able to escape the city, which is the game plan for long-term survival. Now, I'd consider the mechanic as a potential candidate, since you'd be able to easily work on vehicles, but given the amount of zombies and sprinters, I'd imagine finding the time to do so would be quite difficult. So, for the sake of this presentation, I'll be choosing my go-to, the burglar, which leads me into tip number 3. Make sure you choose traits that aren't super punishing. Here I'm choosing smoker, high thirst, and slow reader. You can choose whichever trait suits you best, but understand as time progresses, it's going to be much more difficult getting supplies. The only trait I dislike most is high thirst, and can be pretty rough especially when the water shuts off. But you can build things like rain collectors and make trips to wells and lakes and stockpile on water. So we load into the game, which leads to tip number 4. Close all curtains whenever you enter any house. Closing curtains can cut off the line of sight of zombies. I also like to remove curtains from the second floor if possible, as having these extra sheets make it much more convenient if you're ever forced into another house. You can simply use these sheets in the future. Now, a frequent occurrence is going to be house and car alarms. Unfortunately, depending where you spawn, it can sometimes be left up to RNG, whether you make it out the house or not. But luckily for me, it's not too bad. Tip number 5. If you hear any alarms nearby, run. These alarms are going to attract every nearby zombie, which includes sprinters. So, I snuck out through the side window and tried to sneak out through the back, which leads into tip number 6. Preserve your sprint as much as possible. This is mainly for when unexpected alarms go off. You'll be able to distance yourself as much as possible. In this case, I was being chased by a sprinter, so I decided to sprint into the woods, which worked out in my favor. Tip number 7. This might be the most important tip for surviving this game mode. Your goal is to escape the city. You will most likely die if you try to stay and loot. The city has way too many zombies, too many sprinters, too many alarms. It would be a fun challenge, don't get me wrong, but for an actual long-term survival, your best bet is to escape the city and try to find a house just on the outskirts, which is what I did here. Tip number 8. Very, very, very important. Do not aggro large crowds. Most likely there's going to be a few sprinters inside the crowd and they will chase you forever, burn your stamina, and you will die. Instead, avoid crowds. Go around them, and if it's too many, just turn the other way. It's not worth it, trust me. Now here, I kinda just let the zombies aggro the alarm, so I stood far from view and just fast forward the time. Tip number 9. Always check your surrounding. I can't express how many times one zombie aggroed on me, then all of a sudden the entire town beelined straight towards me. The AI on these zombies are insane. There was a video of a zombie opening the door for another zombie.
Being able to open doors is just wild.
Being able to open doors is just wild.
So yeah, be cautious. So my goal here was to check the vehicles and hotwire the one that had gas in it without aggroing any zombies. It might be hard, but if there's anything I've learned from Project Zomboid, is to never give up. Once I got to the vehicle, I checked the car to see if it had any gas, and lo and behold, it's in perfect condition. Not only that, but a gas can and a couple fire axes in the trunk, along with a generator manual. Holy RNG. I already knew the car was going to be locked, so tip number 10. If you're going to smash a car window, make sure it's the passenger side. I can't recall how many times I've seen people smash the driver window, then later in the run, they get bit through that very window. So always smash the passenger or rear car windows. Smashing the window in this situation could be quite risky. 1, zombies could hear me and collapse on me. Or 2, the car might have an alarm given the perfect condition it's in. A zombie did aggro on me, but instead of killing them near the rest of the zombies, I decided to take him far away and kill him. Tip number 11. Extinction mode isn't a race, it's a marathon. Meaning, you'll most likely have to chip away slowly at the zombies, come back, chip away again, and so forth. So that's exactly what I did. Tip number 12. Try to obtain a watch as quickly as possible. You want to be able to tell the time so you know when to start heading back to your base before the sun goes down. Since it turns pitch black at nighttime, it's never worth staying out after 9 PM. So always head back to your base before 8 PM. Here, RNG has been good to us, and we decided to drive out of town. Now sadly, I drove into a dead end, but here's a perfect time for tip number 13. Use the Project Zomboid map to map out where you should go and where you should avoid. My general plan is to head out from the city, so I decided to go to one of my favorite bases, which is just to north of Rosewood. Now I want to mention that in a normal game mode, you can lure zombies out of areas and trap them in the woods. But for Extinction, it's a bit harder. I'll be going over that in the upcoming series, but for now we're going to focus on early game development and avoid any form of combat. Here I tried to stop for a quick refill but wasn't able to get it off in time. Luckily I managed to get away. So now that we arrived at our destination, there's one important thing that will always linger since we're still barely close to the city. There are much more meta events that occurs in the game, such as random gunshots at the distance and people screaming. These can often attract zombies in that general direction. So don't get too comfy, because you'll never know. And since zombies respawn is turned on, and zombies will often roam around, you'll always have to be cautious. Now, the next thing to do is get some food and water that will last you a couple weeks until you find a way better base that will sustain you for the rest of your run. In the next video, we'll be covering tips for looting and preparing for mid-game setups. Until then, be safe survivors, and see you in the next one.